You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to Merkel. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Dolphins fans. Welcome into DolphinsTalk.com. Dolphins matchup. We are back in effect, back and better than ever, as once said. We got a couple of things, some house cleaning from, and I know this has been thoroughly covered elsewhere on DolphinsTalk.com, all of the amazing podcasts and shows that we do here. But, I got to get my man, the Baron of South Florida's Robert Burns' take on some of the big things that have gone down.
Has something happened? Did I miss
Phillips
something?
being traded, Chris Greer being shown the door. Will there be any regrets? I know where there will not be any regrets. And that is if you get yourself down to caneswear.com, the best place for Miami Dolphins merchandise, sweaters, hoodies, jerseys, shirts, hats, sweats, shorts, anything you could possibly want. Hopefully, sooner than later, there will be some branded paper bags put out by caneswear.com because, man, Prime was really having a great time. I feel like I haven't seen that before on Prime, where they that thoroughly went through the crowd and showed all the people and how pissed off they were. Then the other night against the Ravens, hopefully caneswear.com begins selling branded paper bags. I would not put it past them because they got everything else, baby. All of the stuff we just talked about and more, also carrying these things for the Miami Heat, for the Florida Panthers, Florida International, Miami Hurricanes, anything and everything you could want. After you check in with my co-host, the Baron of South Florida, Robert Burns, you can bop on down to 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, the brick and mortar, caneswear.com. That is who brings you this show. I'm up here in the caneswear.com command center, caneswear.com. Number one. We're not quite up to number one in the draft picks. Going down, actually. I wonder what draft pick the new GM will have to work with. Robert Burns. Chris Greer showing the door. Jalen Phillips traded. Break it on down.
As long as it's not in the top 5, so I don't have to pay for next year's fan.
You said the top 5? I thought you said top 3.
No, top 5.
Oh, buddy.
I'm pushing. Here's the thing. I looked up, I think the new power rankings came out this week, and I looked it up, and it's about right. The Dolphins are about 6, and that's where I can picture. I'm trying to pull it back up on ESPN here. But let me see if I can pull it up while we're talking. The new power rankings for the week came out, and I don't think they're the worst team in the league, but I still am going to stand by the fact that they are maybe 6 or 7, and they will win another 1 or 2 of these games that they're just up against bad teams, and they'll end up with that pick. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm fine if they don't. I can afford the meal. Dolphins are 27th in the power rankings on ESPN. So they better than Tennessee?
No, and they're definitely not. They're definitely better than the Jets.
Better than the Jets. So I'm saying Tennessee is ranked 32 in these power rankings for this.
Yeah, better than Tennessee. They're definitely better than the Jets if the Jets traded away their 2 best players.
And the Jets are only going to get worse, so that's probably a win for them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Better than they will likely have more wins than the Saints. Okay. Right now, they should be better than the Browns, but they lost the head-to-head. But the Browns are 29th. The Raiders, pretty bad. And then the Dolphins. And then the Giants. So it could flip-flop a couple of wins here and there. I think Miami maybe finishes with 4. And is 4 wins top 5, or is 4 wins 6 to 7? I don't know. There's enough bad teams in the league every year.
To me, that's a positive because I don't want them to be tempted to entertain one of these quarterbacks this year. I know the big boss man, Michael Levy, he disagrees. He likes this quarterback class. I'm not seeing – I'm a big fan of don't chase the quarterback. Take as many blue chip players as you can, and then eventually the quarterback will either come or you'll have a good enough team where you don't need a great quarterback. So don't – that's always my roster strategy.
Yeah.
Don't chase the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you don't know, if there's any question whatsoever, any question, you shouldn't be taking one top 3. That's just how I feel. Just how it is. And I'm also a big proponent of, like, say it's number 6.
Sure.
Are the Cowboys gonna turn down the number 6 overall for Dak? Maybe. How bad would this team be with Dak? Are the Cardinals turning down?
They're so devoid of talent and health at this point. I don't even know if Dak Prescott or something like that moves the needle. I think there's more wrong with this team. There's more wrong with this team than just the quarterback. And do you put Dak Prescott on this team and it's a night and day difference? I don't know if having Mike McDaniel out there with him changes anything.
But if you're going to pick a quarterback at that number 6, who we don't fully feel great about, or get Dak Prescott, I'm taking that. Like, you know what I mean?
You're banking on the quarterback still being there at number 6 when teams like,
absolutely.
Teams like the Jets would be looking for a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Teams like the Raiders likely would be looking for a quarterback and moving on from Geno Smith or grooming someone. Saints definitely need a quarterback. Yeah, there's not that many of them. You know? True. And I don't know if you reach, but if they continue to play that the way they are, then even if they win, let's just say they're 6 and 7 in the draft, I'm okay with that too, because it's better than years past where they're 13th, 15th, 18th, something like that. And you're banking on our scouting team and our general manager to be able to pick a good enough player in that round or in that part of the round that you're gonna hit on. Hasn't hit on a lot of them. Hit on some.
I mean, at 13, there was just that bum Tyler Warren available. Who's taking that guy?
Forget back to the question. Lamb. They could have had a lot of players.
Chris Greer,
Benogany.
Chris Greer, Jalen Phillips, both showing the door.
Yeah.
Thoughts, sir?
I'm fine with Chris Greer, and we talked last week. Was it going to be Jalen Phillips or was it going to be Bradley Chubb? And I entertained the idea. I guess they thought they were going to get a more value out of him trading him right now, and heck, they may be able to sign him as a free agent in the offseason and bring him back. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is a possibility of that with the Eagles not signing him, and he seems to love it so much in Philadelphia and hate it so much in Miami since he's been gone. So there's a chance, but I think they had to see what they have when Chop Robinson is fully healthy and able to come back and get him some more playing time, and may not have him this week, for the concussion. So, and that's a shame because he had the potential with some of Buffalo's starters, either ailing or out, that could have had a chance to make some plays this week. But we talked last week, it was going to be one or the other. We kind of expected someone to leave, and I didn't expect it to be so quiet. Maybe.
I expected Minka and Bradley Chubb to be shown the door as well. So,
and those are probably things that you wait until the offseason, get a little more value to them, as long as they don't get hurt. That maybe you're able to get something more, and teams look into it and they can say, you know what, I feel better about trading for this guy with an off season rather than midway through the season and hope it works. So I think that's probably going to be how it works out for them. I'm hoping that McDaniel doesn't win enough games where it's snake oil and you're back with him, but that's the wrong way. And I think that we've seen enough times that's the wrong way to reset a franchise, is to just fire the GM, bring another guy in and tell him you're forced to have this coach. I think that the writing's on the wall. There's enough shaking. And again, if you fire Mike McDaniel, what are you bringing in that's better? Anthony Weaver? Like, is that better? That's not going to give you and your fans any sort of hope for the rest of the season. And you talked about the brown bags. I don't anticipate any less brown bags to be out there this week with Buffalo. So I don't know how much better it's going to get if you let him go. Maybe you just ride it out. This thing's coming to an end, and that's fine. And I'm okay with that because the season's already at a loss, right? It's just at what point do you start seeing the other young guys getting in there and they embrace the suck?
So it's going to be very similar, and we'll do a very quick recap because, again, it's been 10 days. Thoroughly covered on this Fine Pine Network already by fantastic podcasts.
It's been 2 seasons already. We haven't even had a bye.
Talking about the overall concept here is going to be pretty similar in that last time we were with you, we talked about how there's going to be opportunities to put up points. And there damn sure was. In that Ravens game, 4 or 5 drives, Dolphins went right down the field and then went right backwards on their own mistakes, fumbles, false start. Man, way to go, Larry Borum. I almost said the F word. Way to go, man. Getting that false start, and then the kicker comes right out and misses, and we end up with no points. Just phenomenal, brother. Just real good stuff.
I mean, the Dolphins either kept up or slightly outplayed the Ravens at some points in those first half.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because they couldn't finish anything and get a break, it seems like they got too far behind. You don't win a game when Tua has to throw the ball 40 times most of the time, right? And that's what happened. And the rest of the team wasn't able to really function after that.
On one of those drives, in fairness, I do want to say that is going to be in the top 3 worst referee calls of the year, with Ollie Gordon slipping and sliding into someone and then getting called for cutting. You usually don't hear even commentary. Even the ref who was assisting commentary on the broadcast said, no, that is a terrible call. That almost never, ever happens. So bail out on that one. The rest of it, it was an abomination to watch. These guys perform like a well-oiled machine and then just screw themselves over and over and over again.
And they made the Ravens look like the Ravens were going to be the favorites now to win that division, and they're going to get right back into the playoffs. They made the Ravens look really, really good.
Yeah,
and the Ravens could dud, but I saw an article earlier this week saying, is Lamar Jackson back in the MVP race? He's played 3 games. Is he played the Dolphins? He's already MVP. What's Josh Allen going to do this week?
Oh, well, there we go. 9.5 point favorite for the Bills at the Dolphins. Dolphins at home.
I don't feel comfortable with that, though.
Usually home field is supposed to be 3 points. So that means that these people are saying that the Bills are about 13 points better. I don't know, man. I might think about doing a little ski on that. Tease that up to 10.5 or 11.5. That's a lot.
And the Dolphins, and look, I mean, we know Josh Allen he's got 2 losses in the regular season to Miami in his entire career at this point. And the Dolphins always seem to, heck, they had Skylar Thompson out there in a playoff game and almost beat them. So they always figure out a way to not always, but the majority of the time figure out a way to keep it close enough to where you're watching it. And I don't know if that 9.5 makes me feel comfortable though. Because Buffalo's Buffalo had a couple of wacky losses too.
They sure did. And I think that in the intervening weeks since the last time they played the Bills, Tua maybe is going to take this, and the quarterback. No, I'm joking. Josh Allen 100% has been in Super Saiyan mode for most of the season. Growing and growing and growing. I think the Bills are, and they rolled over the Chiefs last week. Feeling good about themselves, feeling good about Josh Allen. Definitely going Josh Allen, the quarterback.
Even that game though, last week against the Chiefs, as well as the Bills played, they kept Kansas City in it to where it was a 1-score game right at the end. They kept Kansas City in it with a chance to keep it alive. So Buffalo can either score 45 points on you or score 20 and keep it close. And I don't know which one it is, but I know that Josh Allen is the better quarterback. So that's not even a discussion. And I think even rolling into the next one with a chance that James Cook's not out there, that makes it tricky for the running back, right?
I don't think it does. The only reason I was going to pick our running backs regardless. And then I looked on the lineups and it says James Cook is the number 1 running back on PFF. I'm like, well, I can't really, can't really do all that. But no, if he's questionable or limited, 100%, I'm going Dolphins. I've loved, when they get to run the ball. Yeah, I've loved Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon.
Yep. And that's the question though: are they able to run the ball? And this is a Buffalo defense that you can run they're one of the worst rushing, almost as bad as Miami. They're one of the worst rushing defenses. So you have an opportunity to rush the ball and for Miami to actually win this. If James Cook was playing, I would have said it was a no-brainer. I would have to lean towards Buffalo. But without him, it's a little questionable now. I may go to Miami, even as bad as some of the plays look. I think that, Miami has a chance to make some moves here if they stay running the ball. And when they play Buffalo, they usually have a habit of doing that.
Like I said, very similar to the last game. There's going to be opportunities to put points up. What happens with the rest of it? But there will be opportunities. I loved, maybe we'll skip right into the offensive lines. By the way, it's Buffalo, like not even remotely close. Buffalo's offensive line across the board is fantastic. I do want to say, though, the play design last game with when Mike McDaniels was putting Daniel Brunskill in the backfield in like a diamond pistol look and would snap the ball, and then Brunskill would step up to block like he was a running back blocking. That was awesome, and it was working real good. But, we want to fumble and false start and do all kinds of funny shenanigans once we get down into the red zone. So, all for now.
You're down. Same thing with Buffalo. If you get down 14 points real quick, then the running game doesn't become as much of an option. But I think with Buffalo, a guy we're used to seeing at Oliver on injured reserve, not being able to play, you've got some holes there to get to the second level, or at least get right up in the linebacker's face. So they have a chance. And I think Miami, what's our average run? An average 5.2 yards per carry against the Ravens. Problem is, like you said, didn't carry it a lot.
Again, Buffalo's offensive line, Deion Dawkins, David Edwards, Spencer Brown, Connor McGovern, all having a fantastic season. Fantastic offensive line.
Yep.
Probably going to be pretty nasty business as far as pushing around the Dolphins front seven. And then on our side, not much has changed at all. Brewer, top three. Patrick Paul still having a really good season. The rest of it, nothing to say, nothing about. Wide receiver group. Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman, been decent. Khalil Shakir has been excellent out of the slot for them this year. Going against our guys, Jalen Waddle really stepped up into that wide receiver one group, man. I love it going forward. I love him being a guy to build this wide receiver core around going forward. But right now, I'm still going the Bills group.
Yeah, I think you have to with Jalen Waddle, and I think take Jalen Waddle over 65 yards, maybe over 80 yards. Oh yeah, he's averaged about 80 yards a game since Tyreek Hill has been out. So take that bet. But the problem is the other complementary receivers got to hold on to the ball, guys.
Yeah, they sure do.
Great that you catch it, great that you can run, but you got to get down while also holding on to the ball. So
as much as I hate to say it,
that out. If they can figure that out and get some of these guys going, then that would be beneficial. But I think Buffalo's receivers, like you mentioned, are just more complementary to the rest of the team. And, it shows on the field.
I hate to sound like one of those people, but
too late.
There's a stat that's tracked that, basically tracks how many yards would be added if not for drops, like perfectly catchable balls that were dropped. And Tua is ranked number 3 in that category. So, hey, if you want to say something for them, that's one thing. These receivers are dropping balls at a crazy rate. It's like never mind. Seventh. Never mind. They're dropping a lot of passes, and it's affecting the offense a lot. And Tua's ranked in the top 3 as far as quarterbacks who would have that many more yards if not for drop passes. So there is that. One thing, though, I do want to say, we got to take the Bills' side on this because Dalton Kincaid's having an excellent season. Greg Dulcich got a shout-out on this pod last time we were on, and then that boy went out there and tore it up, was on fire. I said it. I was really looking forward to seeing him in this system someday, and he looked fantastic in it in the first week. Interested to see, whatever Mike McDaniels' future is, whatever happens with that. Interesting to see Greg Dulcich going forward to the rest of this year, possibly the next year. Possibly we're going with Mike McDaniels wherever he ends up being an offensive coordinator next year. All of those things. Dalton Kincaid, though, I'm going with him. He's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, and the Dolphins don't really have an answer at tight end. In fact, this week they released Tanner Connor. So, already down another player, in that tight end group. I mean, at this point, how many more could you even have to spare? and the depth chart's just not there, for him. So, they'll be out there with warm bodies, but they're not full-fledged tight ends. And maybe that's a position they have to look at going into next year, unless they feel like bringing Darren Waller back and he's able to play.
Got to go, Bill. Even though they are missing players, even though they give up rushing yardage,
So are we, though.
they still got
That's
Bosa, they still got Russo, and both of those guys have been on a heater the last couple of weeks. Now, right, Bosa, if he gets coughed on the wrong way, he'll go out of the game. So it might not play out too badly, but
hey, Bosa is also the one that had the almost that led to Patrick Mahomes' interception last week. That kind of sealed the game. So
they're almost lead interceptions.
Doing his best Jalen Phillips almost impression helped the Bills seal that game. And so think about it, in most weeks we've said, hey, they got a lot of potential. They got a lot of players. Jalen Phillips ain't there anymore. Chop Robinson, concussion, not really at his full best. So what do you have?
Looking rough over here. Looking rough.
You got Matthew Judon on the other side. And I think you're right. I think Buffalo's situation is better. They have the number 2 pass defense also in the league, and that is part because of the rush that they're able to get with guys like AJ Epinesa, like you mentioned, Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa. They're mixing and matching players and dropping guys. Now, their secondary might be a different question because of injuries, but I think you're right. The front defensive line and even into the linebackers, they complement each other so well that it depends on what Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde version of Zach Sealer and Kenneth Grant you're going to get this week. Yeah. And I don't know what the hell is going on with those two.
So the Bills linebackers are, as the Spaniards would say, El Terrible. They're very, 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 very bad. The Dodson and Brooks considerably higher graded. So we're going to have to go Dolphins linebackers. And again, remind everybody, that mid-level passing game that this offense is supposed to feature, it's going to have opportunities, going to have a lot of opportunities because they're especially terrible in coverage, the linebackers over on the Bills. Secondaries, can I just pick neither? Don't
really care.
Secondaries
no Rasul Douglas either. What are you going to do?
The secondary for the Bills, which is also awful, just like the Dolphins, is at least a little bit buoyed by, again, Gregory Rousseau, Joey Bosa being on a hot streak. So I guess I'll go with them because we could go a push if you wanted to, but to me, yeah, you know what? Yeah, group versus group.
This is the chance for the Dolphins to get back at a guy named Jordan Poyer for last year. So you got a chance to do that. And the only reason he's playing is because the Bills are pushing 2 safeties on IR, that have starting capabilities for him. So I don't think you're wrong in either the linebacker, case for the Dolphins. I mean, Jordan Brooks does he still lead the league in tackles at this point? Is he reaching for that milestone this year? And with the Dolphins, I mean, you're leaking cornerbacks at this point. And so who do you really have out there that can put up a fight against these receivers? And these are big receivers. These are not tiny receivers. Keon Coleman's is a pretty big physical guy with good hands. So, who are you going to be able to put out there? I don't know. But here's the thing. If one quarterback can see his receivers because he's tall enough and the other one is like me and can't see over the offensive line, one quarterback is probably going to make more plays in the middle than the other.
Yeah, I'd say so. Special teams, I think we're back to the automatic go the other way on special teams because
I feel it.
Riley Patterson, you finally let us down, bro. Man, oh man.
But the return game has been decent. I will say the return game has been decent. I mean, they're putting them in some decent field position and sometimes around the 40-yard line, and you just can't do anything with it. So I don't blame the field position. I don't think Buffalo's anything special either, though. So it's still Buffalo, but I don't know if I want to be. I kind of feel like I want to say I miss Jason Sanders. Is that weird? I don't know.
Coaches, nothing has changed since the last time we did this.
Move along.
I will say it is. I mean, obviously, right. I think a lot of Dolphins fans were really happy to hear that Chris Greer was shown the door. But I did find it funny that in the game that he got fired after, the biggest hallmark or the biggest takeaway from the game is how unprepared and how undisciplined the Dolphins were. That's coaching. So it's funny to me that when the primary takeaway from the game is like, look how undisciplined and what a circus this is out here, that they're getting so many scoring opportunities that they themselves are squandering and throwing away because they cannot execute basic football fundamentals. You see that, and then you fire the GM. Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue because they're just happy to have Chris Greer gone, but that was just ironic to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a home game. This is against a division rival who has beaten you up. I don't know how much longer Mike McDaniel can withhold if this is a blowout. You know, like if this is a blowout, you got to get through this week, and then you have a couple of cupcakes, right? You have opportunities to be competitive. But if this is that bad and the guys are quitting and they're not moving, maybe he stays for a couple more weeks, or if he loses a couple of games. But this is kind of a barometer right now because the big changes have been made. And I think that, you know, Stephen Ross is hoping that sends a message. I don't think that message is going to be received the way that he's expecting it to. I get you like the guy, but at a certain point, you can only like someone. They can be nice guy for so long until you got to move on. So I don't know if fans are out there and they're wearing brown bags and they're booing the team and the team's getting blown out at home and people are leaving by halftime. Like, how much longer do you go with it? I don't know, man.
I agree, but at the same time, there's already been
it's gonna probably
embarrassments,
go through,
you know.
It's gonna go through a few more weeks, but it's getting at this point. I'm okay. Just go ahead, tear it down, whatever, man. Give me something different.
Yeah, something different is neat. So we're both going to return. Final score, Robert Burns.
34-10, Bills.
Well, since I think there's going to be opportunities, you know, and then hopefully they don't all on their own take those opportunities away from themselves. I'm going to go 35-21. Bills. So yeah, it was still covered, but I think the Dolphins are going to score points. They should have scored points in the last damn game, and 5 drives got squandered by fumbles or penalties, or one of them was an atrocious call by the referee.
They'd have 4 or 5 wins right now if they would have just finished drives and not
100%.
made fatal mistakes.
100%.
But they don't. So now they're resetting.
Game, we got time for a little bit of bold or bull.
We do.
Is starting running back X for the Bills. Is that okay? Now we've gotten to the ultimate version of this.
Here's the thing: Rico Dowdle. I feel bad, Uncle Rico. He's actually playing really well this year.
Yeah, no, he's been excellent since that game. Absolutely. Is literally whoever they suit up to start in the backfield for the Bills on Sunday going to go over 100 yards?
You're talking Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. And Ty Johnson has 10 yards as the most in the past 5 or 6 weeks, but he's got no carries.
What did Rico Dowdle have before the game?
What's that?
What did Rico Dowdle have before the game? Sometimes running backs need the confidence. They need the rhythm. And they're off to the races.
Sometimes running backs need to play the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro Bowl worthy is what you're going with. I don't think that they'll become Pro Bowl worthy, and I don't think that either running back individually will get over 100 yards. Reading into that, I think they'll get over 100 yards combined, including Josh Allen. But I think, 80, 40, whatever it is, I think they'll split the carries. And who knows, by the time the third quarter hits, it might just be run the clock out.
Oh, there we go. Well, that was, that's going to lead into my next Boulder Bowl. Boulder Bowl, Josh Allen will have over 3 touchdowns.
Running and throwing?
Yes. So 4 or more.
Yeah. Oh, over 4 or more touchdown. Yeah. Well, no James Cook. Man, that's tasty. That's tempting. I feel like he wants it. And we both projected the Bills to score more than 4 touchdowns. So, yeah. And everyone's making a big play that Josh Allen is the greatest rushing quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. So he adds like 2 more touchdowns to his rushing total.
It's this is funny because it's not funny, it's terrible, but it feels like in games where the more Tua has to throw, the lower his ceiling is for yardage. Like
if he throws 40 times, is he at least gonna hit 220?
It goes down, right? Like in the games where he only has to throw 27 passes, that's when he gets close to 300 yards. Is Tua going to go over 250 passing yards? Tua gets over 250 pass yards. Bull.
Bull. No way.
No.
Bull. No way. No, he played a Ravens defense that was giving up 40 points a game, and he couldn't barely get 200 on that one.
This is in the modern NFL, for all of you Tua soldiers out there. In the modern NFL, this is what we talk about every week. Oh, is our quarterback going to be able to make 250 yards? Is our quarterback going to be able to make 200 yards? That's not
what's his over for this week?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm working on it. I'm doing said things. Over under Dolphins Bills player props passing 220 219 and a half. I still take the under.
219 and a half is his over under. Yeah, I'm going under because if we're predicting that many points, that means he's going to have to throw more. And unbelievably,
Tua Tagovailoa will throw 1 or more interceptions.
Oh, yes. Over.
Okay.
Because he's going to have to,
and Jordan Poyer is going to be the one to catch it.
Well, he's up there stealing money from the Bills now. He was stealing money from the Dolphins last year. He's a high level, he Red Dead Redemption 3, there's going to be a player based upon Jordan Poyer. He's an old-timey famous bandit. Oh yeah, for sure. Because we both expect a lot of points from the Bills. They're going to start to run away. Tua's going to have to throw it a lot. And once he starts throwing it a lot and he starts getting pressured a lot, he starts, throwing meatball subs into the middle of the field, and that's a wrap. It may soon be a wrap for Mike McDaniels, a wrap for the Miami Dolphins season, and for this week, but not for the rest of the season. It's a wrap for Dolphins matchup on DolphinsTalk.com. We will be back. Maybe we'll be talking about a shocking victory. Maybe we'll be doing some more draft pontificating like we were this week. One can only hope whatever it is, it's more positive than we felt coming out of that Ravens game. Dolphins fans, stay strong. You keep showing your disdain for what's going on. Do not allow yourself to settle for less. Do not listen to the people trying to defend things that are happening out on this field. You keep pushing for change, damn it, because you deserve it. Let's all lock in, see what happens against these Bills this week. Let's go, Dolphins fans.